Mamini Mr. Kabono Eninkomo, President NAGRAT, na yenji a few explanations in free Honum. Mr. Kabono are joining our Hamanis. Mr. Kabono, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
But you're not a to say. All call it for a review of the free SHS program. Epacho, and you be identity all call it for a review.
Well, the program, no. A chance here 4 years in me, and yeah, free senior high school policy. Mami explaining quickly, and because I say free senior high school policy, it is not only payment or non-payment of fees.
Okay.
It has a lot of other implications, any other ramification on the general education delivery. And the quality of teaching and learning. So, you can't free senior high school. People just think that, let us stop the conversation at the level of payment and non-payment of fees. Now, yetina asia yesi konya edwindwe hono. Yehu said there are a lot of challenges and a lot of things that were not envisaged when the policy was being implemented. Let us not forget that this policy is a political promise. It is not a situation where educationists have sat down to develop a free senior high school policy document, scheme, or any research work has been done. No, it was a political promise that was implemented by the government, that the party that won the election and had promised free senior high school. Good. And then again, let me also say that the intention behind giving the people free education is good. It's good. But then, if you do not sit down to work it out well and identify challenges and find solutions to those challenges, we will soon be turning our senior high schools into the least desired institutions, and it will rather give birth to the growth of private senior high schools that will offer you certain opportunities like international baccalaureate and so on and so forth. Something that is already on the upside. Let us not forget something that is already on the upside. So, NAGRAT say, we already had a good system where even people who went to private school, private basic school, all preferred to come to our public senior high school. So why don't we make it better, make it sustainable and attractive? I can say, you cannot implement a policy of this magnitude and not have a periodic review of the policy. It is not practical. It is not workable that way. So we are calling for a total review. So we see the challenge areas, so that areas that we can change, we change. Areas that we can maintain, we maintain. Those areas that we can overhaul, then we overhaul totally.
And as an association, more the proposal be Akoma, the Ministry of Education, with the concerns you have, challenges as to how you feel solutions ought to be found for these problems.
Well, what we have called for is to organize a stakeholder discussion on the matter. It is at a stakeholder discussion, and of course, the stakeholder, it will not only be NAGRAT, it will be teacher unions, it will be parents, it will be other educationists who may not directly be in the field of education, it will be CSOs, and so on and so forth. It could also be members of CHAS who are the headmasters and the headmistresses who are superintending over these schools and are facing the daily challenges that we are talking about. It could also be the business and the accountants of the schools who daily are challenged with the financial administration of the schools and so on and so forth. So we can come up with a document that the government will use as a base document to see how we can revamp and revise the free senior high school policy.
In the article I read, issues about payment of utilities and some ebaye. Anyebiano, Charles for complaining at their mouth say these are challenges they experience in the day-to-day running of the various institutions.
Well, you cannot separate Charles from the unions because all members of the unions are teachers of schools, and all Charles members are members of the teacher unions. So we cannot even separate ourselves. The fact of the matter is that we are teachers, we are in the school on a daily basis. The challenges of the schools are glaring to us. We are teachers, we are in communion with our headmasters and our headmistresses, and we know the frustrations that they face, the challenges that they face. So the information is our information, and the information is information emanating from challenges that occur in our schools.
Now, Yembra, the stakeholder consultation ya working once me say about review process now. What the kind about parents, what about Charles, what about one Casamore, any other one more said there will be a part of it. At the end of the day, say movie stakeholder consultation, I say ABA, a kobase, all these concerns ne Kasamwa, any many ya, and say COVID-19 in Tinama, Yensikasama Basa, near the Fahin.
Menana bina or two me for Tama may seem to say brand here. And I'll catch me say, romance without finance is ignorance. So, although the new as a class, it can't come. The Pamutrama will be out from my local body. But what I'm trying to say is that Bibia will cherish it. You have to make an effort to put resources in it. There's no freebies in this world. And the most sustainable project is not done on freebies. Yeah, can free senior high school, free senior high school. No. I said, be a easy baby. Eddie Baba making sure a free senior high school now succeed. Either the parents whose children are in the school pay directly, or the government take resources that would have rather gone to any other sector of our economy to come and pay. So, Sikasem, it is the foundation and the basis of the free senior high school. It is where it is coming from that is an issue of debate. If we do a discussion and we realize, say, it is inadequate. Once the government still holds on to the principle, say they will have to continue free senior high school, then the government will have to crack the nut and get the money from whichever source it ought to get the money from, so as not to shortchange quality for expediency. And in the end, that is where the crust of the matter will be.
Obi maybe says, Mr. Kabonu, but any better said disbursement to various institutions, there have always been concerns for them. For saying, chance for headmistresses, headmasters are complaining about the delay in the disbursement of secondary schools. So what has changed?
What has changed is that in the past, the students at least were paying the fees directly to the school. So there was some resources available for the schools to run. And then the schools make the request to the authorities for those other components that government decided to support. And today, the students go to school with an empty budget. So if the monies don't arrive now, if the food items don't arrive now, if the books do not arrive before schools reopen, then there will be challenges. That is different from what used to happen, where a percentage of the fees were paid by students awaiting government disbursement. That is the different situation we are dealing with now.
Maybe it's a question for you. Samushi and Amudi did him because now we can decouple NAGRAT from SHS because Munino Mushishimua and do you get the sense administrators of most of these schools would have wished to say some financial commitment be free parents anyone mama anymore?
Absolutely, because you are assured of immediate presence of the resources. You see,
Sammy,
Mami ma osinero kitwebi. Amount for a private basic school, almost school fees a term. Sometimes they cross to 2,000 Ghana cedis a term. So when we have 3 terms, we're talking about 6,000 Ghana cedis. Not to talk about daily transportation, food that they give to the kids, the books they buy, and so on and so forth. So there is a huge amount of money spent on kids when they are in private basic school. So said ni pay a school fees or private basic school. Now or bas senior high school. And before free senior high school now administrative fees and Kodanu channel was almost nothing to write home about. It was almost around 300 Ghana cedis. Baby a koye baby is a koinim any feeding na akwane didi or dining hall no. And in those days I think they were pegging it at 9 cedis a day. 9 cedis a day. So multiply 9 cedis a day by the number of days the children were going to be in school. No? Then you come up with how much the kids were going to pay for a term. Right. So the school fees, let us separate the school fees paid in those days from the feeding fees of the child who is supposed to eat in the boarding school. Right. So honestly speaking, we know that a lot of people can pay. For example, I don't see how majority of students in Wesley Girls, majority of students in Presec Legon, majority of students in Prempeh Kumasi, majority of students in Laboni Secondary School, St. Mary's, St. Augustine, will tell me that majority of students or parents are not within the financial ability to pay the school fees of their children. But once the school fees is paid, it makes available immediate money for the use of contingencies, exigencies, and needs of in the school.
From last statement I'm making here, then you are taking us to a statement the finance minister once made. He said, "Sankebeya possible now parents are more capacity to pay. Should we be looking at that option?"
Yes, even the minister then even went on to say, or no, even without salary, probably to me for 8 more other students. So when you give him free senior high school, he wonders whether you are helping him in any way. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
You can pay your child's school fees in senior high school. So I think that, and you see, all that we are saying is a conversation for our own country. So that for government itself, because the needs of education is not limited to senior high school. The needs of education extend from basic school, and the challenges that we have with infrastructure deficit in our basic schools in this country, you cannot imagine it. When you come to Accra, Kumasi, sometimes you see beautiful public school buildings. Anyway, just get into the hinterlands, and you see the deplorable infrastructural needs, infrastructure situation and needs that we have in our rural communities, where children don't have the ability to pay for private tuition and so on and so forth. So when we look at the resource basket of our nation, and yet, it's a conversation for us all. Let political ego, also a politician map policy. It's a very difficult thing for the politician to change the policy. because the politician is afraid that his opponent will take him on. So when government policies are made, though they themselves see the challenges in the government policy, it becomes a very difficult thing to change. And if we are not able to get over that, I tell you, freebies are contributing to the economic situation we find ourselves. Freebies number and enjoy it. Economic situations are affecting it. You see, so there is a need for people. And maybe quite disappointing me when said there was a lecturer from the University of Ghana who made a statement saying when the freebies were coming, Ghanaians should have known that we were going to pay for it. Please, you are a lecturer. When the freebies came, lecturer in economics, did you even use your position to educate us for us to know that there are economic consequences to freebies? You did not. So don't come and blame the people. So this free senior high school is having financial consequences. But for the parent who are buying one out is also, one out take so and out to buy a free senior high school. The parent believes you because he knows that you have done your balance sheets and your auditing, and you know very well that the economy is capable of carrying it. So let us not blame the people, but let those in leadership commune with each other, commune with the people, sit with the people, and let's see how we can work this free senior high school to a success.
Performance of the free SHS 4 years on, more assessment in as NAGRAT.
Well, when we talk about performance in terms of WAEC results, it is almost the same WAEC result that we have been receiving for countless number of years. But we look at performance beyond WAEC results. We look at performance in terms of the environmental situation in the school, the security of the students, the conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning to take place, the comfortability of teachers and that of students, and so on and so forth. That's how we can assess the general performance of the schools. And then, as we speak, what is the rate of deteriorating infrastructure in the schools? Just because the amount of money for maintenance is either not coming on time or it's inadequately provided. The rate of deterioration of physical infrastructure, that definitely will have consequences on teaching and learning delivery within the next few years. So that is the general view that we want to have on the free senior high school scheme that we're talking about.
All right, let's stay on your understanding of the performance, taking away the WASI results at Ebano. Yeah. On the scale of 1 to 10, performance in mobile grading is saying?
Oh, I think we are running at 50%.
At 50%?
Yeah, we are running at 50%.
Mr. Kabono,
and if the situation continues like this, we'll be deteriorating further.
After putting a friend say statement to Abonti, what next?
Well, we have, we also have people outside education that we relate with. If I tell you that we have people within the that we constantly discuss issues with privately, you will not believe it. We tell that we have people in industry we have discussion with constantly, and it looks as if the question people are even putting to us that, okay, you have called. If government is not organizing that forum, then as a union, organize a forum and kickstart the conversation. So we are taking that proposal very, very seriously.
And in a few weeks or months, would see the NAGRAT spearheading a consultative dialogue.
Absolutely. Only that when we come to Happy FM to come and cover us, you need to mobile cover free of charge.
Mamisa question is that to suggest to say? I know there's some corporate social responsibility, and the only problem. But the message say is that to suggest to say? Behind the scenes, my moves for this consultative dialogue to happen now.
Oh, yes. In fact, Seobe Kaikra, before the inception of the free senior high school concept, na yen position aba welcoming the free senior high school concept, but also issuing caution in the unbridled and open nature of it. And at that time, we called for a certain criteria for people to qualify for government bursaries. We have done several write-ups on this situation. And after that one, also, as the developments come up, I don't know whether you recall, about 2 months ago, NAGRAT CCT, press conference, raising the challenges that buffer stock was having and the fact that it was having negative effect on the situation in the schools. You need buffer stock for Asia for them to explain their point of view and the challenges that they are also facing to us. So we have done a lot of engagement on this matter.
But Mabo Minister Namani say opening your person Ghana phone in Asia. Ni sankomo.
Well, the minister in the meetings now is very regular, but also this press conference happened on the eve of May Day. Or tradition be on the eve of every May Day, NAGRAT issues a press statement, and that was last Friday. We will write officially to the minister and get the minister's response. But also, he's a public figure. He has heard our press conference. We also expect him to respond to it.
Mr. Kabonu, and a pevedo as said, watching Bernani Edin Common. And your Cabone, President Emma NAGRAT, one more press conference, one more whole day raising concerns about the challenges bedeviling the free senior high school policy implementation. And the trigger for that statement in the first place in the AD and Komo.